Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I wanted to show you guys my SMG build, and we're going to talk a little bit about why SMG builds are both good and at the same time slightly useless in PvE. Now, I know some people might be running good SMG builds in PvE, but the reason I say slightly useless is because the mechanics of PvE, in a sense, are anti the style of play that the SMG build kind of inspires or encourages. Now, I don't have a lady death, so don't be surprised when you see my build without one of those, because I have no patience to try to farm something that is so elusive. And I don't want to, I don't want to raise my my blood pressure or get upset. So I try to kind of stay away from RNG as much as I possibly can. Now, this build is basically your bread and butter build. I mean, look at it. It's got everything. It's got your Providence. It's got Circle of Concern. It's got a little bit of Grupo Sombra, and it's just raw because I haven't even gotten myself a chess piece. But what you're seeing in this little video clip on the bottom here of the screen is this build actually running and taking care of enemy NPCs and destroying them. That's basically the build. And if you look at the numbers, basically numbers that many people can get their hands on, weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, crit damage here on the mask, the Coyote's mask. If you look at the chess piece, these chess pieces that are rolling for decent, you can get them running maybe heroic missions or farming Providence on heroic. You'll get drops that actually have good numbers. You may not get everything you want, but the numbers will definitely be revealing. I'm looking towards keeping this chess piece when the patch is rolled around. I have a sniper build that I've been, practicing and working on, and it uses focus, and I like to use a scope so it doesn't bother me. If you guys know my Deadeye videos from back in the day, I said back in the day, basically last June, July, August, I was always using the scope. So for me, focus is definitely the talent that I would love to use the right and correct way. So I'm looking for another, another chess piece that will work in my favor, and one that, preferably has a talent that I would also be willing to use, aka 0Fs. I want a 0Fs chess piece, or any chess piece that has Unbreakable, that has all those stats as well. And then Providence holster, weapon damage, critical hit damage as well. And I don't need weapon handling, but it's what I got, so I'll take it. This Grupo Sombra backpack has crit damage and weapon damage, has skill haste. I don't know if I really necessarily need it, but it came with Wicked, and that's the hand that was dealt to me regarding my backpack. So instead of just worrying about a backpack, I went ahead and took a Stinger Hive so that both of them can work in synergy. I dropped the Stinger Hive, and then I have more weapon damage. Now, the reason I picked the Stinger Hive is not just because I want to just, add more damage. It actually protects me. Because of the way the game is, SMGs don't allow for you to stay out of cover much. You got to really use cover if you're going to be doing that kind of damage. And if you're solo, it's just you. So what this does is it actually protects me. Like, I keep it like close to me, and any NPC that comes into the radius is going to get fried immediately. And so once they start to stay under that status effect, they can't fire, they can't concentrate, and I can usually burst them down. So it's not just a pick, it's a strategic pick based on what I have with my build. Circle of Concern gloves, weapon damage, crit damage. I wish I had crit chance on there. It would really help with the, with my entire stats. And then I also have Circle of Concern knee pads to give me 15% extra crit damage. And then I have 6% crit chance rolled on there, 13% weapon damage, and then 8.9% headshot damage. Now, my stats, 57% crit chance, and I have 124% critical damage. Now, it does a lot of damage. It really does. When enemy NPCs are running my way, I mean, I literally will clean them out with something so primitive as a build like this. And I guess that's where it comes to the challenge and the difficulty of actually running a build like this in PvE. Enemy NPCs have different behaviors. Enemy NPC types are different. If you go with the Black Tusks and you gain a whole bunch of drones and heavies, an SMG build may not necessarily be your best friend at that point. So if you had to run a build like this, you would have to have a support weapon that can deal a lot of damage, and a rifle will most likely be, your ally at this point, or a sniper rifle, or marksman rifle, basically, to go with something like this. And then whenever enemy NPCs come close, you can burst them down using your SMG. I'm using the I'm more keen to use the Dark Winter, because it's a vector. But if you want, you can use the Banshee. Banshee provides a lot more damage than that vector, but the RPM of the vector is also pretty good because you want the burst damage. Now, in PvP, I have not used this build, but I've just sat on YouTube and watched a content creator just shred multiple people in the dark zone using an SMG build. Regardless of what they were running or what he was running, he used an SMG build, and I think he had some different talents to be able to complement his playstyle, and his SMG build, the way and the description of how it was used, and from video evidence, I'm telling you, it did a lot of good work. The problem though, again, too, is because of the meta right now, if you run around with this SMG build and you get into a fight where people are running a lot of the holsters, are running a lot of the, the True Patriot and a lot of other builds that can be really annoying for you as an SMG player, you might not let out many rounds before you're taken down. So SMG builds are actually just good in theory, but in application, they are very challenging to use. Don't get me wrong, you can still run them in PvP. Like I said, if I had perhaps an unbreakable chest piece, it will probably be very useful for me to run even in PvE for myself, and even in PvP if somebody else was running that. There's also efficient. I know that sounds like a cuss word right now for a lot of people, because you guys don't want to hear the words efficient at all. You guys just you guys would rather that never even existed, but it is something that is within the game. And the thing is, and the challenge right now with PvP is counter builds, and the exploration of counter builds is still going on. So we're yet to see if there's anything that can still at this point counter the meta, and hopefully they're able to, make changes that adjust the game where you can find multiple viable items to still run in PvP. On PvE side, you can basically use a wider variety because there's a slight knowledge and a forgiving nature of some PvE activities, not all, but some PvE activities that makes it even, worth trying out at least. But basically that's the end of my, of my little rant. I want to know what you guys are doing with SMGs. If you are running an SMG build, let me see, your combination in the comment section as well. Share with me. And if you are actually having, some struggles running them, you can look through the comment section and see what people are doing differently to make their SMG builds viable. Because at the end of the day, we play a lot of these different builds just for the fun of it. If everything was 100% great and you got your hands on everything at an instant, then there'll be no reason to play the game. We're going to go back to TU7 where everybody said there's nothing to do. I have it all. So perhaps these challenges can help us kind of talk about these things and make the developers see that, hey, this game is lacking in this, in this department. There needs to be something that, is tweaked to get SMGs, working right and working with the game mechanics that are actually in place currently, or maybe they need to be moved a little bit to make things better. Anyways, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for your time and audience. I appreciate you guys for your, participation. Thanks so much for 27,000 subs. I just want to take the moment to appreciate, the people who have been supporting me in this community. I know there's been a lot of bad blood in the game. And one of the things about, this game is people usually take their, anger out on content creators. We're not developing the game, and many people want us to say certain things and make certain videos, but the truth of the matter is it's a free world. If anybody has something to say, it's too easy to make a YouTube channel and say it these days. And you can voice your opinion. That's the beauty of the world that we live in today. So I think it's something worth saying that, some people are still in the community regardless of the tough times the game is going through, and still supporting content creators. And that means a lot to me. So that's it from me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Trying to break through! Immediate medical assistance needed. Serious trauma detected. Immediate medical assistance needed. Serious trauma detected. Agent down.
uncovered intel that's going to be a whole lot of help to Odessa in the short term, but to all of us in the long run. You also effectively put this hellhole out of commission.